Welcome to the Verses of Life, where military resilience meets professional clarity and faith overcomes chaos. Get battle-tested wisdom with biblical insight to triumph through growth. Now for your host, Dr. Veronica Sites.
With us today is our guest, Thomas Keenan. He specializes in turning vision into execution and installing operational clarity. If you've ever wondered how to build a business that runs without you, you need to stay tuned for Thomas Keenan, COO of The Movement. And you're going to hear about that today. You're a best-selling author. You're going to tell us about that book because I need to know what that book is. And you're a sought-after speaker known for helping entrepreneurs that they scale without chaos. Now, that's going to be very fascinating because there's a lot of chaos in the world. And we need some clarity. Also with us today is our guest and master, Billy Cox, in transformational strategy. He is the founder of The Movement. He's also got his personal brand, known for helping leaders to convert setbacks into strategic breakthroughs. He started as a door-to-door salesman at 17. Now, that's some hard work right there. And you rose to company president and have helped multiple businesses to grow beyond $2 billion in sales across various industries. You've forged real world adversity, and you've distilled transformation into a repeatable framework. So we want to talk about that. We want to grow from that. And so thank you for being on the Verses of Life. We are all about giving voice of advocacy to the person that might just not be where they want to be, but where you've already gone boldly before and can speak to us. So I want to hear first about The Movement. The Movement sounds fascinating. I know about it, but we want our listeners to learn about what brought you to The Movement, and then we'll go into what The Movement is. But Thomas, you came in to lead.
I did.
And you're spearheading it. So what inspired you?
Had no intention of doing so whatsoever. It's just the way the cards laid out.
Okay.
Billy, my significant other, is in the process of editing Billy's next 3 books. Wow. And that's actually how I met her years ago. She edited my books as well. Okay. And one thing led to another. She's coming into Billy's office pretty frequently, having some conversations with him, getting to know the people, learn the culture. And Billy says, hey, I know you guys are kind of into this business thing like we are. Why don't you come to this upcoming event we've got? So this is December of last year. So we're officially, I've known Billy a year right about now.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. So we get invited to go in, and at the time, I've got my company. It's a coaching consulting company. I'm busy with it. I've got active clients. Not really looking for an opportunity. It just wasn't what I was looking for. We go to this event, and as someone who's hosted and held many events, either for myself, my own companies, through other companies that I've sat in leadership roles, and to be quite honest with you, I was looking at it like, is this guy good or what? Right? Like
you're checking him out?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Like, if you are someone who has experience, you're the expert in a certain area in life or business, you're going to look at somebody else who is doing something and you want to almost critique it. I kept trying to critique it. Day and a half worth of trying to critique it. I couldn't. And afterwards, I remember going at the end of the event, after day 2, and I had pages of notes. I had my own first copy of my dream book that Billy, talks about so much. Yeah. All of our clients have one, and have all these notes written in there. And after the event, I walked up to Billy before the whole crowds kind of swarmed him and took the rest of his energy out, because 2 days of speaking at an event and your energy just goes right down. I said, hey, real quick, thank you. This was great. I really appreciate you inviting us to this. And I walked away with a lot of really good insight and information, and it was a fresh perspective for me, somebody who's been in the self-development coaching mastermind space for years at this point. Because oftentimes it gets stale in those spaces if you've been in long enough. Yeah. And this to me was new, was invigorating. And I said, after this is done, why don't we just connect and have a conversation? That led to Billy inviting me to come on to a Tactical Tuesday call, which is a bi-weekly coaching call that we host for all the movement members. And I co-hosted this call with him, and we did a training on a time study, right? How to know what your time is worth and where are you spending your time, and do this audit and get better here, get better there, so these things can happen. And after that call was done, he sent me a text message and he's like, hey, he goes, why don't we hop on a call? And we did. We hopped on another call for an hour. That call led into, hey, why don't you come see me at the office? Let's spend some time together. And again, no agenda, no expectations whatsoever. And I think that's a key to a lot of successful things looking back at my own life, both personal and professional. When you're not looking for the opportunity or the right person to enter your life, there it is.
That's a good point.
So that was January of last year. Spent the day at the office. We went to lunch. We talked life. We talked business. We talked hardships. We talked wins. And I walked out of the office that day with a deal to come in as a fractional COO to help him build and grow the movement. And I guess we got about 90 days into it. I called him up on a Sunday and I was like, I sent him a text message like, hey, this might sound weird. I don't know why I'm having this feeling right now, but I got to have a talk to you. And it's like a heart to heart talk. And he's like, all right, we'll hop on a call later. So later that evening, we get on a call. And it was almost as if the words weren't mine. It just flowed out. It's like, I've been feeling this and I don't know why. Like what we got going on here is good, but something's telling me there's more to it than what we currently have in place. And Billy sat there. He listened to me because he's a good listener. And a couple minutes later, he's like, yeah, I've been feeling the same thing.
And it wasn't bad pizza.
Yeah.
It was
Right. And that started this whole conversation that lasted a couple of weeks. So it's just kind of, hashing out the details. Like, he's got his companies. I've got my stuff going on. How do we bring this in? How does it make sense for all of us from an operations perspective? How does this look for the overall vision of the company? Is there room for us to do this thing together? Are we aligned? And we took a lot of time doing so. And I think there's a lot of lessons in that for a lot of people. Because I've gone into business partnerships, I've gone into business relationships, I've gone into all those things and also personal too, where you kind of rush into it because the emotions are heightened at the moment. You have this feel good sensation going on, and you may know more about what the brain is delivering at that point in time as those feel good chemicals hit you. And you get into it, and then a couple weeks later, it all wears off and it goes away. Right? It's like, I don't want to do that. I was 45 years old at the time, and I said, I don't want to put my effort, energy, and resources, like my heart, into something and then have it not go so good 6 months, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Like if I'm going to do this, I want to do it and I want to do it well. And I think that's a really important lesson for people, regardless of what they're doing or where they are in life, is take your time. Don't rush into certain things. This is a big decision for both of us. He basically said, hey, I'm allowing you to basically put your fingerprint on a big portion of the company that I've been building for the past year. I need your help. And it's a big responsibility.
And that is a huge responsibility. And Billy, I'm going to call you a multipreneur because you are not a solo business owner. You own multiple, you've scaled many businesses. The movement is different.
Yes.
The movement is something that you've created that is not solely Billy.
Right.
Billy initiated it, but you've brought Thomas in, and there's almost, as I look from the outside looking in, it's you are preparing who will follow because the movement doesn't stop when Billy retires.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the man behind the movement, Billy Cox, because you are in of yourself. You are a professional. You are a speaker. You are set apart. You're known. I came to know you through Tom Ziegler, years ago. And only in the last couple of years am I really getting to know you as the legend. Okay. And I say the legend because when we spend time with other people, when we spend time with the person, it's not just you know about them, you get to know their quality, their character, their integrity, and those types of things. And Billy, I want you to tell our audience the man behind the movement and what it is that you're leading, co-leading, but also the trail that you're blazing as Billy Cox.
Well, I appreciate that. And I've said it many times, but I started in sales when I was 17 years old. I won't go through that whole story, but there's been, lots of ups and downs that you go through in business, in life. And, those early days where I started, knocking doors, kind of like Zig Ziglar. And I think that's one of the reasons that we had had a connection there is because he started out in sales. And then, but as I did that, I moved into more, leadership positions, eventually started my own business. 3 months later, literally went out to get in my car and it was repossessed. And, I actually called the police and, thought somebody had come to get it and thought it had been stolen, but then realized real quick I hadn't made a payment and you had to pay for those things. To make a long story short, that was a turning point in my life. And I've had many turning points. I believe at every new level, you're going to have forks in the road. At every new level, you're going to have turning points. You're going to have decisions. You're going to have vision decisions. And that was just an early on vision decision that I made in my life. And so, you've got to have a vision for where you want to go. And then you've got to have a decision. And that decision has to be backed up with action.
Yes.
And so, from that early stage in sales, Susan, my wife, who's over here watching, wife of 37 years, we've made a lot of decisions along the way, but I guess that day was the day that I made a decision I would never be broke again. And that I was willing to do whatever it takes to really, to get to that next level.
Okay.
And so from that office, we built that office to number one in the world in our company. We built 16 other offices out there. So we learned how to scale. We learned how to duplicate. We learned how to replicate. And we understood that kind of, you have to lead the way in selling, because you got to have money. You got to have cash flow. So we learned sales processes and we learned how to replicate them. And that moved me to Dallas because the company that I worked with had over 500 offices. We were the number one office in the world in that company. And the company's sales was doing this and ours was doing this.
Okay.
And so they asked me to come in and run the company. We brought our processes in and implemented them. And within 4 years, we had made up all the lost ground and we hit record-breaking sales for around 10 years in a row. Now, we parted ways, and one of the reasons that I parted ways with that company is because I started writing books, I started speaking, I started training, and it started taking up a lot of my time. Yeah. They didn't really like the idea that I was running the company, but building my own personal brand. And so, and for me, when they tried to stop that, that was really not an option. I felt like that there was something, something bigger, something greater, and that I had a message to share with the world. And about that time, I had really gotten more plugged in to Zig Ziglar, Tom Ziglar, and I got to know him at more of a personal level. Again, I don't want to belabor the long story, but so I made a decision that I was going to start speaking or do more of the speaking, do more of the training, things like this. And that went on for several years. I also got an opportunity to be a part of a business that was a really small business as a small owner. And I saw a vision with that business. We branded it. And today, we built offices across the world, done over $1 billion. We now have 5 different businesses that do 7 to 8 figures per year. So I guess the end result is every new level, you're going to have decisions that you have to make. And the decisions you make are going to determine your ultimate destiny. 3 years ago, Bob Bodine, who's speaking at our next level event.
I love Bob.
And so this is kind of getting around to your question. Okay, we got who? But Bob Bodine was at our office, and Susan and I was there, and he had spoken at an event. And after that event, he came in, and we were just talking. And Susan, at that point, we were semi-retired. Okay, we just got back from our lake home today. But, we were at our lake home half the time, here half the time. And then, Bob was talking about 2 chairs, and I really had gotten out of the speaking. I had gotten out of the training and just thought that, there were some things that had happened in the speaking realm, kind of as Thomas was talking about. There's good people and there's bad people. And so you got to know what you stand for and you got to know what you stand against. And so as some different things happened that just sort of pulled me away from it. And after speaking to Bob, had nothing to do with being in the speaking and training business, but after speaking to Bob in our office, he was talking about 2 chairs. And I felt like that I did 2 chairs, meaning, you know, God, you're here and I'm here, and God, you know, give me all this stuff. And
Okay.
so I call it more of a chair and a prayer.
A chair and a
I
prayer.
wasn't really doing 2 chairs. I was doing a chair and a prayer.
Okay.
But after meeting with Bob, and Bob talking about, why don't you try it the way that I talk about in the book? And so it was the following Sunday that I literally, in our cabana, went outside, and the way that Bob talks about it in the book, I literally said, I'm going to do it this way. And I really sat down and just went into this state that I've never been in before. And it was like, and I started going, God, what is it you want me to do?
Yeah.
And what is it you want me to know? And it was about a 45-minute, I felt like it was an out-of-body experience. Bob called it a Kairos experience, but it was literally a Kairos moment. And, but in that moment, it was like, Billy, I've given you all these businesses. I've given you success. I've given you talent. I've given you a passion for people. I've really given you like discernment, all these different things that you have the ability, and you built all these businesses. You've been mega successful as far as the money side of it goes, but it's your time to really give back. And, you know, you've got a book that you've written that you hadn't even published. You've got other books that you started that you haven't done, and you've just been sitting on them. And it's either do it now or not do it. And that was the birth of the movement, that moment. And Susan, you know, I went and told her, and she's going, oh no, we're retired. We're not retired no more. And, but that was really the birth of the movement. And, but he was also, he was like, but you can do it. You don't have to go out and speak and train at all these companies and events and leave. You can build something where people come to.
Yeah.
So people can be a part. So the movement is really about people helping people. Okay. It's about something that's bigger than me or Thomas or any other person in the movement. It's a community where people can share, where people can care, where people can succeed. They can be their own self.
Yeah.
And they're not just a number in a system.
That's good.
Okay, there's so many out here where you just feel like you're a number in the system, but where you can really be a part of something that's greater than who you are. And really, when you get around coaches and mentors and masterminds and people, that mastermind principle does come into effect, where you literally can become larger than you ever could be by yourself. So when you have that team support where people really do care, you're not just kind of being, you know, through the cattle chute, I call it.
Yeah.
You know, where you can truly, our hope is that people find a place in a community where they can not only survive, but they can thrive and also feel like they're really a part of something more special. Now that's the movement brand, and and Billy, the brand, you know, that's written the books, the training, the speaking, you know, the next level events, and all of the different things that we do there. You know, I do have my own, you know, personal brand that I feel like that God gave me the ability to help people just really transform. We teach people that clarity is power.
Yes.
And the more clear you are about what it is you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. And for some weird reason, God-given, maybe I put in the thousands and thousands of hours doing it, working with people, coaching people, training people, but I'm able to see things sometimes that maybe other people can't, you know, kind of make it where others miss, and really find somebody's superpower and help them bring out that superpower and help them transform. So, you know, one of the things in all of our businesses, every next level of my business has always started with a personal transformation.
Excellent.
So people want their business to transform. They want their world to transform. They want their relationships to transform. They want their life to transform, but they don't want to transform. They want things to change around them. But as you change you, everything around you starts to change. As you transform, everything around you starts to transform. So one of the things, we don't teach people just how to scale your business, grow your business, become a better coach, become a better leader, all this stuff. We really teach you, as you transform, then those things will transform. But you have to get super clear.
Yes.
And when you get super clear about what you want, then you're going to start saying, doing, acting, and reacting in ways that are going to bring that about.
Yes.
And so it's really not about just action. You know, we've said 2026 is here. If you want to win 2026, it's now. It's what you do today that's going to determine your ultimate destiny. So, but 2026, we're calling it the year of massive focused action.
Love it.
Because you can take a lot of action and get no results. And people do it over and over again. They live Groundhog Day over and over and over and over again. And they wonder what happened. So it's only new actions are going to get new results. But it's only focused action that's really going to bring around that transformation. So you got to know, what am I focused on? And is what I'm doing every day moving me closer to that goal, dream, or vision, or is it moving me further away?
Excellent. Well, on our platform here, the Verses of Life, that really is why you're here, because the story behind it is, what I do is I help people move from pain to purpose.
Yes.
There is a pivotal
exactly.
point.
There is a purpose. Yes.
There's a pivotal point we all come to, and unless something changes, nothing will change.
Right.
And what is incredible is I call it real tired. When people retire, they're usually real tired.
Yes, right.
Because in life, we really don't retire. We're called with a purpose. We're here on purpose to carry out a purpose. And purpose never changes, but the mission might look different as things come up, or as, some would say, you get sideswiped. Maybe because you weren't planning it, but it sifted through a God's hand that touched your life, and He's in control. And so, the thing that really endears me is something that you both talk about a lot. And I cut through it this way. It's like when a client hires me, it's like, we're going straight for the BS, man. We're going straight for the BS. And let me help you understand that means belief system.
This has been the Verses of Life, where warriors and professionals live life on purpose, silence doubt, and lead with action. Stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, growth through pain reveals a greater purpose. Stay. The world needs you.